Hi everybody, I hope you're well. Today I am at the amazing Delamere Manor in Cheshire, which is also the old home of Gary Barlow from Take That. And I'm with Kit and this amazing, huge fly-in dress. I pray that this shot works. If it does, it will be the greatest day. So, let's crack on. So before we get into this video, I want to say a huge thank you to Corinne Art in the US who supplied me with this dress, and it is beautiful. It is massive. I've never seen a dress as long as this. Plus a huge thank you to Flashmasters Ambassador and incredible photographer Ellie Begueno Chico for the inspiration for this shoot. Ellie has taken so many incredible flying dress shots which I've seen and just been massively inspired by. So the thanks for the inspiration for this video all go to Ellie. Now this shot is not going to be easy because this dress is huge. It is massive. It's the longest dress I've ever seen, and in an ideal world I'd like 3 people to help me take this photograph. One here flapping the dress from this side, one over this side flapping the dress, and another person holding a Magbox to light kit. But there is only Helen to do this. So what I'm going to do is take a series of images and stitch them together as a composite photograph in Photoshop afterwards. So I've got my camera here on a tripod. This is my Sony A9 II with my Sony 1635 G Master lens. I'm going to get a nice wide composition and then ask Helen to walk around wafting the dress in different places, and then eventually Kit will not be moving throughout these different exposures. Helen will light Kit with the new MagMod XL modifiers with a Godox AD400. The reason I'm using the AD400 is because it is so bright. If we can just have a look up here, it is currently, at the time of filming, 2:30 p.m. and sunset is 9 p.m. So what's that? 6.5 hours before sunset. The light is really harsh. This is not ideal. Now I'm going to underexpose this whole scene. Now normally that would underexpose the dress, but this dress will shine, as you can see here, because it's very reflective. Yeah, that was another one. Hopefully I can underexpose the scene. It should look really dramatic, but I do need to use a lot of flash power because the scene will be underexposed. That's why I have to use a very powerful strobe such as the AD400. And I'm going to have on there the new MagMod XL MagSphere, the huge MagSphere. Should we give it a go?
Let's try.
Let's go for it. Okay, so we're all in position. My camera is on a tripod. Never forget that, by the way, because that's going to make it far easier when we're stitching this together afterwards. Helen's going to now walk around wafting this dress, and I'm going to take shots each time. These will all be in natural light. We're not going to introduce off-camera flash until the very end when we light Kit here with the Godox AD400 with the MagMod XL MagSphere. Okay, Helen, so we're going to start now. If you can just hold it there. And if you want to just, it's very difficult, it's so windy today, just lift that up and then just let it go. Perfect, yeah, that was good.
Another one?
Please, yeah.
It only takes a minute.
Very good. Right, okay, so I think we've got all our base images. We probably took about 40 shots there, 40, 50 images. Now we're going to take a shot of Kit with off-camera flash. So Helen is very kindly going to hold the Godox AD400 with the new MagMod XL MagSphere. This is huge, it's like the size of my head. Now Helen is going to be in the photograph, but that's not going to matter because in Lightroom, because I'm using a tripod, I can composite her out. Well, I'll show you how to do that in a second. Let's just pop that on there. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Yeah, that's cool. Just looking up towards the light if you can, Kit. It's really important to stress that this is really bright. This is the worst conditions to be shooting in, so the speedlight, the strobe, the AD400 is on full power. And just lifting your chin up and closing your eyes, Kitty, that's okay. Yeah, perfect. Excellent. Thank you so much to Helen and to Kit. What I'm now going to do is take you into Lightroom and Photoshop. I'm going to composite all these photographs together to hopefully create something that's going to look really epic. We will see.
Okay, now let's merge all these images together to create what hopefully will be a really cool end result. So what I've already done at this stage is edit my selections in Lightroom and exported them as JPEGs. So here are some of the original raw files and here are the end edits. Now, I only did some very simple tweaks, basically just increased the exposure and pushed up the whites just to give me a nice final exposure, and I then sync those exposures all together so that all the images that were exported from Lightroom are exactly the same. Now what I'm going to do is bring those images into Photoshop as layers. So to do that, I'm going to go to File, Scripts, and Load Files into Stack. Now I'm going to select those exported JPEGs. And I'm not actually going to tick on the attempt to automatically align source images box because I use a tripod to create this image, so I don't really need to do that. However, if you're ever going to try a photograph like this handheld, so you're going to be a little bit of movement between each of the exposures, then Photoshop will do a really good job, a very scarily good job of aligning them together. And I have actually used this box to create this image. This was taken with 3 exposures, all handheld, and Photoshop was brilliant at merging them together. But for now, because I use a tripod, I don't need it to do that. So I'm going to click on OK. And as you will see, Photoshop is now going to bring in those JPEGs into Photoshop as layers. And what we're looking at here on the main part of the screen is the top layer. We can tell that because the eye is selected. If I was to untick this eye, we then look at the layer underneath. Untick this one, we look at the image underneath, and we're always looking at whichever layer the eye is ticked on, like this. So I'm going to start by just unticking each of the eyes. So we're looking at the bottom layer, and that's good because the bottom layer is the version of Kit which I want to use in the final photograph. So this area of the photograph will be the same in the final edit. So I like to have that one at the bottom. And now what I'm going to do is add on various sections of these layers here onto the final image to create something really dramatic. So let's actually start with this one at the top. I'm going to push that to the bottom so we can just on top of that base layer. So we're now looking at Kit Flying Dress 01. If I untick that, we'll look at the base layer again. So what I'm going to do with this layer selected, I'm going to, on the Mac, hold down the Option key and press on Layer Masks at the bottom here. Now what that will do is it makes that layer go transparent so we don't see it anymore. And what we can now do, and this is really cool, by selecting the paintbrush and then the white paintbrush here, we can bring through the area of that layer that we want to see. So I'm going to do this with the opacity at 100 as it is there, and the brush hardness at 100 as well. Now I can just paint over there and we're seeing that layer come through. So when we get a bit closer to Kit, we need to be a little bit more careful. I'm just going to just change the brush, make it a bit smaller, and just go over here. And when we get to this section, I'm going to just go, now you see I've done that on purpose, but if I go over Kit's dress like this, I don't really want to. I want this area of the dress to look like it's going from behind Kit. So if I go over even a bit more like that and make a mistake, what I can then do is change the brush color from white to black, and now go over that again, and it just takes away that section that we've brought through. And you can then start to see how by using these two methods together, the white brush and the black brush, we can create something that's very accurate. It is a little bit time consuming, but it's really cool to do this and see the final result sort of come together in front of you. Now there's a bit of Helen over here, a bit of her arm, which we don't want to see. So again, I'm going to go to the black brush and just go over that section. We'll do a couple of these layers and then I'll show you the end result, which I've already done, one I prepared earlier. We'll do this bit now. So we'll select this layer. Actually, I'm just going to pull that to the bottom. So again, we're looking at that layer there. We untick it. We're looking at the layers underneath. So let's press Option, Layer Masks, That layer then goes transparent, and with a white brush again, I can just start to bring through the area of that layer that I want to use. I can change the opacity just to blend that bit in a bit nicer. So I've gone to 30% by pressing 3 on the keyboard. Let's go to 50% opacity and just go around here. So it just means that you can't see the join. We've obviously missed a bit here. So I'm going to go to 100% opacity with the white brush, go over that section. And that there gives you an idea of how I built up the final image. So what I'm now going to do is open up the final image within Photoshop. So you're going to see the different layers that I used. And here it is. This is the final image. Now, as it turned out, I only actually used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers. I'll put that one to the bottom. I didn't bother using these top ones. So if I untick each of these sections here, then there again is the base image. Then these are the sections that I added on. So we had that one. As I mentioned, if I was to edit this again, it would look completely different, I'm sure. But I thought that was actually quite effective. And if you look, when we go in closer, I just made sure that I wasn't overlapping Kit here. Let's just untick some of these so you can see what I did a bit nearer to Kit. There we go. Because of the nature of the red dress, it's hard to tell where the join is, and that's really effective. That's good for me because it makes it look reasonably realistic, I think. And that is the final image. So a huge thank you to Kit for modeling and to Helen for not only lighting Kit, but also for picking up and throwing the dress all around for me. I could not have done this image on my own. It was a real team effort. As always, if you have any questions at all about anything I've done in this video, please do let me know in the comments. Thank you very much again for watching, and I will see you next time.
And this amazing, huge red flying dress. I'm praying. Ah! That's wrong. I need to say I pray. Oh, sake.